Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm doing my first official booktube video in front of my bookcases, which I am super excited to finally be able to share with you all. I finally got my books in a way that I like them, and all of my Funkos organized, and just all of my little knickknacks I wanted to keep on the shelf set up. So if you guys want to see a full collection of all of my knickknacks and the things that I put on my shelves besides my books, or how I organize my books, let me know in the comments down below and I would be more than happy to do that. But today I'm here to talk about the books I'm going to read in September and all the books I read over the summer, since I took a quick booktube hiatus. Summer, I read maybe 7 books the entire summer, and 2 of them were less than 50 pages, so I was definitely slacking on that front, but I wanted to share them with you anyway. The first book I read is The After Party, and I really thought I was going to enjoy this book more than I did. It was recommended to me on Barnes & Noble because I loved the Room on the Rue Emile so much that it thought I would like another historical fiction, which I am a big historical fiction fan. But this one it was okay. It was about Texas in the 1950s and socialites of that era who came from very wealthy families, who were going out and partying and living this very lavish lifestyle. But it was about friendship as well, and kind of having like a one-sided friendship with someone. The book was really confusing, and I couldn't really figure out if this was supposed to be like a psychological thriller, like were you supposed to feel like she was obsessed, were you supposed to feel like, you know, you empathized with her. It just didn't make a lot of sense to me. The book overall was pretty good, but I would definitely say it's one that you might need to read more than once. So the next 2 books I no longer have in my possession. I actually donated them to my local library, and that is the 9th and 10th book of the Magic Treehouse series. I wanted to read the whole series because I had a lot of the series. I think I had books 1 through 33 and then some random ones after that. But as I was reading them, I realized it's kind of the same story over and over and over again, and reading them in quick succession like that is not the best way to read them. So I took all of them down to my local library and donated them so that they could have a full set of at least the first 24 books of the series, if not more. The next book I read was one that was on my TBR for quite a long time, and that is Old as Time, which is a Beauty and the Beast twisted tale, which is part of the Disney Twisted Tale series. If you've been watching my booktube, you guys know I am a big fan of the Twisted Tale series. I have the Sleeping Beauty and Aladdin one, and this one was Beauty and the Beast. And I know there's so many Beauty and the Beast retellings and stories with that same kind of trope, but this one was totally different. You learn a lot more about the Beast and about his past. It's basically if you took the Christmas movie of Beauty and the Beast, the original Beauty and the Beast, and all the kind of plot holes or things you wanted to know, and put them in one book. This is also based on a fan theory of what if Belle's mother was the witch that cursed the Beast, and that comes into play here. It also goes into the mistreatment of people in asylums. There's always some sort of real world connection with these books. In Aladdin, it was about the Middle East and the conflicts going on there with people in power. In Sleeping Beauty, I think it was like stereotyping women. I can't quite remember. I read that one a while ago. And this one is all about mistreatment of mental illness or differences and discrimination. So it's got like this weird fairy tale but real life connection, but this was super good, and once I got about 40 pages in, I flew through this book. The next one is one that I'm sure you guys are very familiar with if you've ever watched a booktube video or you watch my big book haul. It is Legendary. I read this book in 3 days and I loved it just as much as the original Caraval. This is all from Donatella's point of view and her search for who Legend is, because she has made a deal with a mysterious figure that if she does not bring the name of Legend to this person, they are going to kill her mother or not tell her where their mother is, because their mother disappeared. So you find out all about the mother of Scarlet and Donatella. You find out more about Julian and Dante from the first book, and let me tell you what, I was screeching 80 pages in. It is such a good story. I love the character of Dante even more. I think I like him more than Julian, which I had previously said Julian is my favorite male character in any book, but this Dante's like a close second, if not completely overtaking. Julian wasn't really in this book, so I think I have to read Finale to make my definitive decision, but I definitely liked Donatella more than I liked Scarlet. I really did not like Scarlet in the first book. I didn't really like her in this one either, but she's not in it as much, so I really fell in love with Donatella and her character, and I think it's just more about like self-discovery and being an independent person than trying to figure out about sisterhood and stuff. I'm an only child, so books about like siblings don't really do anything for me. I don't find them relatable. So yeah, but Legendary is definitely my top 5 favorite books. The whole Caraval series is just amazing. The next 2 books are ones that I have had not very long, but I have had the beginning of the series for quite a long time. I finally purchased the rest of them, which is the Dead Is series, and I read Dead Is Not an Option and Dead Is a Battlefield. This one is basically the wrap-up to Daisy and her sister's story. You find out where her relationship with her boyfriend is going when they go off to college. You find out more about her family and where her dad is. He dead? Did he disappear? What has happened? I don't want to spoil it too much for you guys, but these are fairly quick reads. I believe this one was 220 pages and the other one was around the same. But this one basically wraps up Daisy's story and leads us into the new story that is in Dead Is a Battlefield, where one of the side characters in this book becomes a main character. And this is all about her story. This is all about Jessica, who is one of Daisy's friend's little sisters. And she is coming into her own and finds out that she is a woman warrior and is actually part of the paranormal world of Nightshade, and it's her job as a woman warrior to fight for 7 years to protect the town she lives in, and those warriors can move around to different towns or they can stay in one place and protect the same place their whole life. It's up to them, but she ends up kind of developing a relationship with the lead singer of a band that is mentioned in the books over and over and over again, and you find out how he's connected to the paranormal world and his sister and their family. And this is just such a good series. It is like a maybe like middle grade YA, kind of on the border, but it's a super good series and I highly recommend it. So those are all the books I read this summer. Now let's talk about the books I'm going to be reading in September. The first book I am reading is the Edgar Allan Poe short story, The Murder in the Rue Morgue. That is because it was for one of my classes, but I do enjoy Edgar Allan Poe's writing style, so I'm excited to read it. It's a real short one, it's only like 26 pages, but that is on my TBR. The next book I will be reading, I have already read, I think 86 pages of. Yeah, 86 pages, and that is Delirium, which it has this metallic cover, so it might be hard to see. This is by Lauren Oliver, and this is the first book in the trilogy that is all about forbidden love and revolution and rebelling against a corrupt government. This is a dystopian that takes place in the United States, where love has been determined as basically the thing that causes all problems. It's the thing that causes depression and anxiety. And when you turn 18, they remove your ability to love, and you get assigned who you're going to marry, what you're going to go to college for, and if you'll even go to college, how many kids you're supposed to have, and basically your entire life is decided for you. And Lena in this book is ready for her procedure. She is ready to live a normal life until she meets Alex, who lives off the grid and has had the procedure, so we think, and she has to figure out with 95 days before her treatment if she wants to run away with him or stick to the predictable life of the cure. I am hooked. This reads very much like a fan fiction already. It's very fast paced. There's already been a couple of twists that have really hooked me in, which I love in a book, where there's small little plot twists in the beginning and then one big one at the end, or it kind of just wraps up in a nice little package. But this is 3 books and I have all 3, so you will be seeing this trilogy quite a bit. The next book that I am reading in September is Girl Stolen. This is a middle grade thriller, and it is only 210 pages. It is about a blind girl who's in the back of her stepmom's car when the car gets stolen, and she is ultimately kidnapped, even though that was never part of the kidnapper's plan. And now she has to basically navigate the world, figuring out if she's going to live or die and how to escape these people. This one sounds really like short, sweet, simple, to the point kind of thriller, and I just needed something kind of quick and easy to read while I'm doing all my schoolwork to kind of escape a little bit. So this and Delirium are like my 2 chill reads, even though they're kind of intense stories. The other book I am looking to read this month is the 7th book in the Kingdom Keeper series. This is a brick of a book. I think it's over 700 pages. It has 75 chapters, but it is the wrap up to the Kingdom Keeper series before the spin-off, which is called The Return, I believe. That's all about the villains, but this is all about the heroes trying to save Disney World, and this is our last stance. This looks like this is with the evil queen from Snow White, so the original, like, iconic villain, and she is going to battle these kids to once and for all complete the villain's plan of taking over Disney World. I'm so excited to finally read the end of this series because I've loved it so much, and my grandma and I have been reading it together, so I am just very excited to finally wrap up this series. And finally this month I am looking to wrap up the Dead Is series by reading the 7th and 8th book, Dead Is a Killer Tune and Dead Is Just a Dream. I assume these are going to finish up Jessica's story and her story with Dominic. This one is very short and also includes an exclusive short story, so I am not sure how long this actually is. I think it might be 2 stories. Oh, the short story is actually 3 pages long. So it is like an epilogue of what happened 6 years later, and then this one is just the continuation of the story and the cliffhangers that we were left with in the 6th book. So I am excited to read these 7th and 8th books because I will definitely reread these as commuter reads or travel reads when I'm going different places. So that is it for my TBR. I hope you guys enjoy. I will be doing these every month and doing a wrap up and keeping you guys updated on my reading goals. So that is all for me. If you like booktube videos or makeup videos, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.